Okay, I think you can start
All
when
right,
it's time. It's
get
time,
started. Excellent. So today we are here for this webinar, of course. The reason for this webinar is to show what is possible with video learning and a few of the other features of the basic packages, meaning the bronze, silver, and gold. Um, Today we'll be getting the demonstration from Thomas. Thomas will be explaining a few things as he goes while explaining what he's doing, and also kind of giving examples of what you can do and how to create certain types of learning, video learning, for example. Um, Thomas is our marketing communication manager, as you can see, and I am the global expansion manager heading up the markets outside of France. Thomas, a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, sure. So I've been in Series Factory for now over 4 years. Started as a salesperson, so I know a bit about the software, and then I went to marketing to get people to join our community of digital learning experts, and to highlight to the whole world what VTS Editor is capable of. Um, so I think I'm gonna jump right away in the software. If you have any questions, you can use the GoToWebinar interface. Tahir is gonna get the questions, and whenever he feels like it's part of the flow of the presentation, he's gonna interrupt me. Otherwise, we're gonna do a small Q&A at the end, so you can have broader questions. But don't hesitate to use the chat or the questions. And feel free to ask whatever you want. I'm going to jump right away into VTS Editor. So this is the authoring software part of Virtual Training Suite. If you don't know, the suite is constituted of VTS Player, VTS Perform, and VTS Editor. So VTS Editor is out in the market since 6 years now. So it's got a lot of improvement. I don't know if some of the viewers here maybe are following the software for a long time ago, but yeah, it got a lot of improvement, and we also, as Tahir said, released new packages so that each and every package is used for a specific type of learning. And today we are going to be talking about the video learning, which is affiliated with the bronze pack. So what is video learning in the end? So video learning is a small capture or a small media video that's gonna teach you something. So it's not interactive because it's gonna be read on a media player or on a website, but it's supposed to basically give information, theoretical information, so that people learn and then can train on it. So today the goal is going to be to do something on a retail environment, so something in a shop, because the present times basically prevented people from getting into shops, and we wanted to do something that tells people how to get back in these kind of shops as persons. So this is going to be the overall theme, and we are going to be doing a small video learning. And if you want to know more about it, we are going to transform this video learning into something more immersive and something more interactive. And to do that, we're going to upgrade the package. So I have a special license basically that enables me to go from bronze to diamond. So we are going to gradually improve the level and become power users basically. And then we are going to improve everything. And I'm going to show you how we can do it together in an easy way. So everything I'm going to say is based on a methodology that Series Factory constructed. So I'm not the the creator or the inventor of this method, but I know it pretty well. So in order to make it easier, we also made it as a white book. I'm going to show you right now. Yeah, so we did a white paper about it, which is called Juicy Learning by Series Factory. So juicy is the term we use to say something is gamified, but in a very colorful and a very touchy way. I don't know how to explain it in English. It's an English word, but it's harder to explain it in English than it is in French. But yeah, you can picture a very colorful, very vitamined model, and this is what we call the juicy learning, basically. So we to help people to discover this new methodology, we created 9 steps that you can follow and that we are going to follow during this webinar. And these 9 steps help you to build experiences on VTS Editor without being an expert at the beginning. So I'm gonna go back to VTS, and we are gonna see the 9 points during the presentation. So if you want, you can go on seriousfactory.com and download the book, or otherwise you can ask Tahir. He's gonna send it to you at the end of the presentation, I guess. So let's jump directly into the software. So this was the screen that your learner is going to see whenever he starts a module. So this is like the introduction. So you can also customize this introduction, sorry. You could add your logo, you could add different types of color, you can even change the fonts to match the type of learning you're doing. You can also add backgrounds image. So for instance, we are going to be doing something in retail, so we're going to use a store as a background image. So yeah, everything is, you can customize it to your needs and to fit your brand image. So right now, this is the Serious Factory models, and we are going to edit this scenario. So for those who are not familiar at all with the software, you can imagine VTS Editor as a timeline, basically. So on a timeline, we are going to be adding what we call a scene. So we just drag and drops things like this. And each scene, just like in a movie theater or in a real theater, sorry, each scene is going to represent a set of backgrounds and a set of characters. So here we would have the shop. This is going to be maybe the client house, and this could be another place. So each time you're going to change places, you're going to change a scene, basically. And you can add them by drag and dropping here. So for the moment, this looks like a very linear thing. It's just a juxtaposition of different scenes, but that's because when you try to do something in video learning, it's going to be linear. There is no choices for the learner since there is no activity. You're just guiding him basically through knowledge and stuff like this. So for this webinar, let's just focus on one scene. So it's between the start and the end. Here we could customize the scene if we want to. So you have a preconceived set of backgrounds that you can find in a library. So it goes from a car dealership to doctor's office to basically whatever you want, according to the field your company is doing business in. There is also what we call the shop for VTS Editor. So for around $5 or something like this, you can buy sceneries if the ones that are in the software doesn't fit your needs. So once again, we have lots of things. So here you can even have some 360 backgrounds, but it doesn't work for video learning because you can touch the screen. So let's keep it simple for the moment. But there is a very, very broad range of backgrounds you can use. And if all of this still doesn't fit your need, we could also use what we call the scene configuration, where you can basically import whatever picture you want to create your own background. So here we're going to be in a shop, but it could be my own company. It could be basically anywhere I can take a picture of. So you can really study any subject on VTS Editor. So I'm going to choose a preconceived one just to go a bit faster, because that's not the main point of the software. So let's take a shop. Let's take a shoe shop, maybe. Oh no, let's take this one. And on this background, I'm going to be adding a character by clicking here. So I can add as much character as I want to. And just the same as for the backgrounds, you have a preconceived library of different types of characters, different ethnicity, different, yeah, whatever you need basically is going to be in VTS editor. So if you want a businessman called Thomas like me, you can have him. If you're doing something with an old doctor, you can maybe use Saifeng. If you're doing something more about construction or about workers, you can even use it. The better is whenever you get closer to the learner's reality, it's easier for him to learn. So if I'm doing something in construction and the guy is talking about safety measure, and he doesn't have any helmet or he doesn't have any goggles, well, it doesn't really make any sense to be doing something on safety and to not be safe himself. That would be something weird. So we try to build characters around the needs of our clients. And there is also a shop. So same way, if there is something that you don't find in the software itself, you can either ask us or you can try to look for the shop. And in the shop, there are many different profiles. So we even have a cook. So yeah, whatever you need is going to be inside this software. So for our module, we're going to use someone that looks like a salesperson. So maybe we're going to use Thomas because he looks like me and he has the same name as me. So that's quite nice. And I'm going to be using English voices. So I don't know if you're going to be able to hear the voices since I'm using a helmet basically, because I'm at home, because everybody's at home. So you might not hear the sound, but whatever I'm doing could be with sound. I'm going to see if at the end of the model I can put my speakers on. But yeah, here we're going to configure the English language so that the voices and the synthetic voices are automatically in English. We have a very large range of synthetic voices you can use. And some of them are provided by Google, and they literally look like humans speaking when it's in English. It's very cool and frightening at the same time. So we are going to use maybe, do we have English Great Britain. So he just told me, nice to meet you. So it feels really good. And just by clicking once, I'm going to add my salesperson, and the configuration of the scene is completely over right now. So in like 3 or 4 clicks, you just design the scene located in a shop with a salesperson that's going to be talking to you. Okay. I'm just checking at the same time if we have questions. No, not so far. Perfect. So how are we going to build now the whole story located inside the experience? Because having a character and having background is like a tenth of the model. Now we're going to have to display some information, display some theory so that the learner can learn something. And that's also the first point of the methodology I was talking about earlier, which is define the pedagogical objectives, the target, and the concept. So of course, the target here are going to be salesperson in shops that need to know more about how to get people back into their shops and how they have to do it to be safe. The concept is going to be re-inviting people in shops. And the pedagogical objective is that I hope they remember safety measures so that they can do it inside the shop and respect what the government said. So once I know the pedagogical objective, the target, and the concept, I'm going to have to identify the key message, which means what do my learner really need to know? Like if I have 3, 4, maximum 5 topics that I need my learner to remember, even if it's among 20 others, what are they? So I think the most important thing are going to be the safety measure and to know them by heart. So what we did just before this webinar is we created some small assets, some small graphical assets. So these 3 are going to be my biggest key message, basically, and the most important one. So wear a mask, don't try to shake hands, and please use some hydroalcoholic. I don't know if it's the word in English. Well, in France, at least, it's hydroalcoholic gel. So yeah, it's the thing to wash your hands basically against COVID. So these are going to be the 3 main points that we are going to have our salesperson remember. Once we know what are the key messages, we are going to be building the architecture. So what do we call the architecture? The architecture is going to be how does the scene carry on, basically. So what do you want in your scene? In my scene, I want a person that talks to me, then that shows me the different media I had in mind, and then explain these different topics to the learner. That's all I need. That's the overall architecture. So to build the architecture, on the right side of the screen here, there is a library of blocks. So here there are 10 blocks, sorry. So this is because we are in the bronze pack. The bronze pack is the minimum features allowed, basically, but really the most interesting to be on the video learning. So just enough to be doing something good. So among these 10, you have 5 orange and 5 greens. The 5 orange ones are going to be displaying some information in a certain way. So for instance, a speak block that I can drag and drop it just like I did with themes is going to make characters talk. A message block is going to display a message. So let's just show you how. This is a message. So how do we display a message? I'm just going to show you by clicking on the preview. So this is a message. So we can make the character talk, display a message, display a sound in the same way. We could also display a media on the foreground, which we are going to use for the 3 main points of information. And lastly, media choice that we are not going to use because this requires a specific background that I didn't use for the moment, but it's not important for video learning. And then you have the green ones, which are the interactive ones. So of course, for the first steps of designing a video learning, we are not going to use a quiz because that would require interaction with the learner, and just by watching the video, it's not going to be possible. But it's still an option if you want to do something else than video learning. So I'm going to delete these blocks and build my overall architecture. So I want the salesperson, I want Thomas to speak. Then once he's done speaking, I'm going to see a small break with a message. Then he's going to speak again and maybe display the different information. So I remember I have 3 different points that I wanted to show. So I'm going to use 3 different foregrounds. And of course, since it's a video learning, storytelling is very important. So before maybe each foreground, I'm going to put another speak block so that Thomas can speak and explain them. Okay, so this is going to be the overall architecture. So we are done with the point number 3 of our methodology, and then we are going to have to distribute the different key message. So how do we distribute them? We are going to add in the foregrounds the different media we created. So we just fill in the foreground media up, put it maybe 1 here. Then we are going to put another one at the same place, but maybe down here. Okay, and the last one is going to go in the corner right here. So now we have our key message, we have everything we need, we have the media that are placed. The rest is up to storytelling, basically. It's how do I make it entertaining? So let's go inside the speak block by double-clicking it. And here you're going to have to write the different text you want the salesperson to say. So this is the introduction. So hello you. Long time no see. Welcome back to the shop. I am pretty sure you missed me your manager. So we are going to use a bit of humor because we all know that no one is missing his job. We are all very happy to be staying at home, of course. But yeah, during the introduction, it's always nice to have some funny storytelling. It attracts the learners' attention, and it's always a good point. So, what does it do once we fill in the speak block? I'm going to preview it for you. So by filling the speak block, we now have the character talking to me, and of course the message being displayed. So you can't hear the character speaking at the moment, but once again, it's mostly because I'm wearing headphones at the moment. So this was the way you display some information by talking, but talking is not the only information you can have. Let's not forget the most important one, which is body language, which is one of the main feature you have on VTS Editor. You can play on the humans and the characters' emotions, and also when you upgrade into silver and gold, you can start playing also on positions, on different gestures the character can make to make it more lively, you know. So for instance, here, using the wheel of emotion, I can change the intensity and also the type of emotion my character has. So for instance, whenever maybe it's in a HR process, you know, the guy is not really sure about his decision. Well, I'm going to be gradually improving his facial emotion so that the doubt, you can see the doubt in his eyes, you know. If I'm doing something about maybe salesperson, I can attract a very angry customer. You know, how to deal with an angry customer is not the same as dealing with someone very happy. And they're never going to say they are very angry. You're going to be reading it on their face. So instead of writing you're facing an angry customer, just let the learner, you know, find it on his face, so that whenever he's confronted to the same situation in reality, he's going to be reading the client's face before saying anything. And that also works for sadness. So sadly, there are many medical modules that imply telling a patient very bad news, and there are very, very few training that train you on reading the emotion and telling bad news. So maybe creating something that enables you to see the sadness on someone's face and how to react according to it is very important. And lastly, you also have fear. But basically, yeah, the five main emotions you can find in business situations. Yeah, and then the whole body language goes into fear mode. So it's kind of funny, but it's very, very important. Looks like a detail at the beginning, but once you start playing with VTS Editor and doing some immersive module, you realize that it's a very important feature. So of course, in our example, we've not seen the manager for 6 months, and the shop is finally reopening, so he's going to be very happy. So we're going to use the happy too. And of course, gradually, he's going to be so much more happier to see us. So let's also play on the emotions. So once we're done with the manager speaking, we just have we're going to have a small break with a message, or maybe no. Let's take out the message. Let's just jump right away into the foregrounds and speak block. So we had our introduction. We know the manager missed us. So maybe the player or the learner is going to reply because it's polite. I am so happy to be here. So this is an automatic response from the learner. I'm going to add some replies here. So now let's get into business. Before allowing clients to get into the shop, let me remind you the rules regarding COVID-19. Oops. And I'm going to add one more reply. The first one, and maybe the most important, and I think I used, yeah, the gel, the most important. Don't forget to wash your hands using hydroalcoholic. That's very hard words to write in English. Using hydroalcoholic gel every 2 hours. So it just told us using the speak block what we have to do, and we are going to illustrate it using this little foreground. So once the learner has seen the hydroalcoholic gel, he's going to be talking about the mask. So once again, we select the manager talking to the player. The second mandatory rule is to wear a mask at all time. And of course, the mask is going to be shown on the screen. And the third rule is very weird, but please don't touch clients. Yeah, because when you say it like this, it does look indeed very weird as a rule, because I don't think many salesperson are going to shake hands with their clients. But yeah, let's just remember to not touch anyone. So we are going to display it on the foreground, and then just a reminder, please be very careful and try to apply these rules as much as you can. Okay, so now we have the architecture that's done. We also have a bit of storytelling, and we are going to preview what we just did in under 30 minutes. So let's take a look if I didn't do any mistake. Okay, so that went a bit too fast, and I just realized for readability, I think I should put the image before the text, because it's always easier for the brain to first look at the text, then look at the picture. But yeah, it's okay. For this example, it works. So we just did our theoretical rules. We have displayed our key message. We've displayed the information. We just did the ideal scenario. So now how do we export it? Because we were talking about doing video learning, but it's not said anywhere I can export a video. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on the little camera on the top right corner. And here you're going to be able to basically record the scenery you just did using different settings. So what we do advise is to go in between medium and high quality, because remember, you also have to upload it, and most companies don't have a very speedy internet, or sometimes they try to cut the band, the broadband, to avoid people watching videos. So between medium and high quality is largely enough. You won't really see the difference with very high. And for the resolution, the current one, yeah, that's my personal computer, so that's a bit high, but we take into consideration every resolution. We advise the second one with the medium quality, but we could do whatever we want. So that's what I'm going to choose mine, because otherwise it's pretty hard. So I'm going to take the destination path. It's okay. Here we could also take out every part of the interface we don't want. So if you are recording something that requires no interaction or anything, just take out every detail you don't want to. So you could avoid subtitles. You could also avoid the menu, etc. It's up to you. So then you can start recording. And right now, the software is recording the whole module for me. Okay, so now I can open the folder. And I need to switch my screen a moment. Écran. Okay, so now you can see he exported it for me, and I can just read it whenever I want to. So you could upload it either on your own LMS, you could upload it to YouTube, you can upload it wherever you want. You can also, some of our clients do it. They use some video export of VTS Editor in conjunction with other software. So you could put it in a PowerPoint, you can put it in a presentation. We even used it on a maybe some of the viewers were there. We went to Learning Technology London last year. No, it was the year before. Damn, time flies. But yeah, when we went there, I used the character Thomas and video learning basically to make a presentation. So the character was doing the presentation instead of me, and it was very comical on the fair. So yeah, you can use videos for basically whatever you want to. So it took us 30 minutes, and in 30 minutes we did a small video introduction about different rules of how to get people back into shops. So this was the first step, using only the bronze pack. I don't know if Tahir, you have anything to say about the bronze pack before I get on the silver one.
Well, yeah. So, Bronze Pack was initially created for those of us or those of our clients who only needed the basic minimum features of VTS Editor, and didn't want to pay the higher prices of the higher packages where the features aren't necessarily needed. So it's a very, very new package. It's only just come out during these last few months, and we also created it as a way because we understood, although everyone's trying to avoid the conversation or the subject while at the same time trying to be okay with it. But during this pandemic, businesses have suffered, businesses have taken a hit, and to help those businesses continue to thrive and to be able to still create using VTS Editor, we decided to come out with the bronze and silver packages to ensure that the ones that can't afford the higher packages can still go out there and create their own packages, their own e-learning, video learning, and continue to do business. So hopefully that will help. The pricing should also help. The clients only need these certain features.
Yep. So I think we are gonna do the pricing presentation at the end of the webinar if people need to. Otherwise, you can also jump on seriousfactory.com if you need to during the webinar. We have the tarification, we have everything you need on the website. So while my friend Tahir was talking, I switched from the bronze package to the gold one. So as you can see on the right side of the screen, you had the blocks library that had 10 blocks, if I remember correctly, and now you can see there are a lot more. There are 9 oranges, 9 green ones, and also loads of technical ones. So technical ones are basically the new part of blocks, and they help you to create immersive and more complex scenario. So what do I call more complex? So far, using the bronze package, we did something in video learning, something very linear. But of course, the main point of virtual training suites is to do some how do we call it? A tree architecture, basically. So what do I call a tree architecture? So here we only had one way to go from start to end. So there is only one possibility. But what happens is, if I click here, you now have 2 different possibilities to end the scenario. So what does it mean? Here, if you have a question or a test, and according to the answer of this test, you can either do the the right way, which would be here, or you can go the wrong way, which would be here. So for instance, according to how I treat my own clients, I will either have the hardest part or you have the simplest part. And you can start building the whole architecture, the tree architecture like this. So this is only a two-way, but we could imagine a third one, etc., etc. And maybe the third one gives you a possibility to go back to the second one, and the second one might give you a possibility to go back to the best one, etc., etc. And then we can start doing some more complex things. And what the technical blocks are going to do is they help you design this kind of tree architecture by using maybe randomness, by using counter, etc. So this is really the hard part to master, where the others is pretty easy. So let me switch up. How do I get back to whole blocks? Oh yeah, I'm going to keep it simple for the moment. At the end of the session, I'm going to show you some finished projects so that you can see what a complete project looks like. So we are back in our little session, but now we are going to export something with interactivity and not only something with just a video. So of course it serves different purpose. Video learning was here just to display information, to learn about theory. Now we are going to build a real simulation, so a situation to train on something, so something to get new skills and something that must look like reality for the learner as much as it can. So now, how are we going to do it? Well, so here we add the display of information, so we know what are the key messages.
Sorry to interrupt you for a second.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Seems to be frozen. I'm stuck on the main menu where it still says interface language.
Oh.
Maybe just check the screen share.
Yeah, sorry. Is it back?
There we go. Yeah, now I can see the
Okay,
blocks.
my bad. Sorry. Yeah, the screen froze. I don't know how.
I just wanted to double check that it was actually happening and not only on my screen.
Okay, no problem. Well, sorry for this little interruption.
That's all right. No need to apologize. Continue.
So as I was saying, we have the introductions. We are not going to touch anything about this, but we are going to design a new scene where the magic is going to happen. So we are going to choose another point of view of the shop if we do have it. Let me check quickly. Yeah, we have another point of view of the same shop. Perfect. So it looks like we changed positions. So we still have our character, but now the learner is going to be able to chat and to use his own decision basically with the character. So good old speak block, just to make a small introduction. Remember that storytelling is very important. So now that you know the rules, are you ready for a small test? And we are going to finally use these green blocks, which are, in my opinion, the best ones in VTS Editor. So let's use maybe the first one, which is sentence choices. So what is sentence choice? It's you're going to pre-program different answers that the player can select to respond to the character. So this is and different answers from the player to the manager. You can see it on the left of the screen. So the first one, so he asked us if we were ready. Not at all. I'm very stressed, but it's okay. Yes, I've been ready my whole life. And let's put exclamation points. So now we have two different ways, and let's take a look at what it looks like when you use sentence choices. So my character is talking, and now I have two different options that I can select, and each and every option could lead to a certain way. So these two leads to the end of the scenario, so I'm not going to click them, but I could select maybe, yes, I've been ready my whole life. And it goes to the end of the scenario. So of course, that doesn't teach us anything, but for the purpose of the demonstration, you could also put a score to the answers. So according to what he chooses, he gets more or less points. So for instance, a very stressed person about it is going to get 10 points, but someone that's been ready his whole life is going to get 20. So one rule, or at least one advice we could give to people designing this kind of simulation is try not to put minus scores, which I don't know the name. Yeah, negative points, sorry, because it kind of discourages the learner. So between giving 10 and minus 10 or 10 and 20, it always feels good to get points, you know. So to not discourage the learner, we are going to give him only 10, but if he's ready, we're going to give him 20. There are little tips like this that improve the motivation, which are quite important. And you can also find them in our methodology books on the website. So I'm not going to talk too deeply about it, but yeah, there are some tips you can take. So how does the score interact? I'm going to load again the sentence choice. So now if I take this one, I get plus 20. And this score, you can also attribute them to a certain skill. So for instance, we will go in the parameters, and no, that's not what I was looking for. Damn it, they changed it. Ah, no, skills, sorry. I couldn't read. So maybe we could use stress, readiness, and maybe knowledge about safety. So that this one is quite important. So what it does is, now that I've selected my different skills that I want to study on, maybe this one is going to give you 20 in stress, 0 here, but you get 20 in readiness, and 0 when you select the I'm stressed answer. So you can really weight all the answers that your learner is going to use or to select, so that it gives him a precise ponderation to a certain skill. That's a very neat way to evaluate someone without being too stressful, you know, because getting minus, you feel like you missed something, but sometimes it's not a mistake, it's just the way it is. So try to always use positive points when you try to ponderate something.
These points can also be sent back to the LMS, right?
Yeah, of course. At the end of the scenario, when we are going to publish it, either using VTS Perform or your own LMS, these type of score are going to be tracked basically and sent to the learning manager. So of course you can use the SCORM language to get this kind of information. But yeah, using the score can be used to track and to be used as an evaluation. No problem.
And just to add to that, we've
Yeah.
also got it's an old feature, if you remember, Thomas, where we could also have information of which answer was chosen for which question. This is also being re-added back and basically remastered and added back into the scores option too.
Okay.
So we can also follow the answer path of the learner
Okay.
in our analysis.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
So both my answers are going to go on the same way, because whatever he answers, he's going to have to do the test. Let's be real. So whenever he's ready or not, the salesperson. Okay, let's begin. So now let's use maybe something, a quiz. So maybe we're going to use a quiz with media, because remember we had our 3 pictures that we prepared before the webinar. So we're going to be building the quiz. So here we're going to add the questions. So the question is, which of these is not a safety meter against COVID. So another small tip I can give you is always start your quiz with the right answer. So in our example, these are the right answer, of course, so that you know and remember which they are. So hydroalcoholic mask.
Hydroalcoholic. I think you mean disinfectant.
Yeah. Thank you.
I've
Disinfectant
actually
like this?
written it earlier, but I realized it's easier for me to help you on the
Yeah.
microphone.
Do you?
Disinfectant is there's no Y, so DIS
Okay.
and then infected.
Okay, perfect.
I
Sorry.
I might have put that wrong actually. You're making me want to double check.
And the wrong answer is going to have to be the, I don't know,
Water.
virus tense. Let's call it whatever it is, and maybe use a small picture. Yeah, this is going to look like the virus tense, you know. And maybe we can illustrate it using another media. So of course, let's use advanced parameter. These knowledge about safety. So this is going to give you 0, 5, 5, 5. Damn it. And I just realized which of these is a safety measure. Okay. So multiple choice. Okay, so these are the good choices. Output type. Okay. So now, whenever he answers right, he's gonna go on this way. And whenever he answers wrong on the red exit, he's gonna go this way. So whenever he do everything's good, Thomas is going to tell him, good job. You learned well. Maybe you should go back to the theory. And let's end it with a point. So whenever you select everything wrong, maybe you need to go back to the small video learning courses we did. So what we do is we are gonna maybe add another exit here. So now we have another one here. We connect it. So whenever he answers something wrong, he's gonna go back to the first scene. So in order to show it a bit better, maybe I can use, there is no link here. No, there is no link anymore. Damn it. So I hope you can see it, but this little link is connected back to this one. So whenever it chooses the wrong answer, it goes back to the theoretical course, and then is offered again the possibility to answer the quiz until he's right. So it shouldn't take more than 2 tries when I look at the question, but you never know. You never know. So I'm going to select the right person, and let's maybe load what we just did. So are we ready for the small text? Yes, I've been ready my whole life. So let's use this one. And since I took everything right, I did my 15 points in knowledge about safety. Since I was ready, I got 20 in readiness. So this is the kind of score you get into your LMS, and then you can also print it as a PDF or anything like this, and then you can rank the different employees, you can rank everybody, etc. So that's a very nice way to study the the learning capability of your different employees and see where they can improve and really what type of knowledge they need. Because someone being very stressed doesn't need the same training as someone who need knowledge about safety, etc. So you really need to be precise about your statistics, and the more precise you are, the better the learning curve is for the learners.
Don't bring stop this yet. Oh, I was gonna say if you go through that again for me.
Oh yeah, of course.
So select an answer.
Virus dance.
Yeah,
Oh no, I go back to the theory. Sorry, forgot about it.
that's all right.
Let's not
So
do the virus dance.
Yeah, any of those, yeah. So basically, at the top, you see the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 circles. Those are the previous times played, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So we can see, so the learner themselves can actually see their progression as well.
Yeah, and as the learning manager, you have access to every session they did. So that's also an interesting data, of course.
Yeah, it's great for the learner to see it in front of themselves too.
So, what other type of interactivity, can we have in VTS Editor? All the green blocks are going to be interactivity. So I'm not going to show them all on this type of scenario. I'm going to show you a finished one because it's way easier, because that some of them require some medias like clickable zone, etc. But another interesting one that was asked for a long time on VTS Editor. So for the people who are here following us for more than 1 or 2 years, you definitely have the possibility to include forms and variables also in your experience. So for those familiar with variables, they're present also in other type of software. It's all the conditions. Basically, see it like a bit of coding with all the if, when, etc. So whatever small information you want the software to remember, you can use variables for it. So I'm gonna show you a little bit about it. So here we are going to build a form at the start of the scenario, so that the learner can give you his name, etc., his profile. So we are going to be using name, surname, and company. And on the right side, we are going to assign them variables name. So this is going to be the variable name. This is going to be the variable surname, and this is going to be company. So now, at the start of this training, you have it starts with a form. Okay, so now the learner is going to complete this information and start the model. And of course, the computer and VTS Editor remembers everything that's typed in this kind of form, and you can also reuse this information during any speak block or anything using these variable names. So, for instance, if I use name, so Tahir, can you remember if it's 2 brackets or 1? I always make the mistake.
Yeah, it's 2 brackets, 1 on each side.
It's so 1 on, okay, that's confusing, you know, when you say it's 2, but is it
So
1 on
you
each
have the
side?
open bracket and the closed bracket, so 1 set of brackets.
Okay, so let's try and see if you are right. Even the best can make mistakes, you know. So my name is Lessier Thomas, and I'm from Serious Factory. So it should
Your
be
name.
Yeah, as you can see here. Oh, it went too fast. Let me do it again. Maybe use also surname. Yeah, it was surname, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And let me.
By the way, in English, we pronounce the first name first.
Oh, yeah. Makes sense.
So your surname is Lezoux.
No, it's not. Okay, so here we have it. So right now, the computer remembers my name and my surname and can display it in every speak block, every quiz block, etc. So of course, whenever you use synthetic voices, so you have vocalized the whole scenario, the character cannot pronounce my name since it doesn't know it using the voice, but it can at least display it. I don't know if I was clear enough, Tayer, because that's the hard part to explain.
Yeah, so basically, because of the amount of noises or different tonages that can go into names, the synthetic voices don't necessarily pronounce all of the names. So at least it comes up in written, so that it's visual for the learner to see that their name is actually being used by the avatar.
Okay, that's way better.
Oh,
But
I
yeah,
felt like I confused it a bit more, to be honest.
what?
I felt like I confused it a bit more, to be honest.
Well, if you get questions about it, you know that you confused people. But yeah, anyway, so now we have the green blocks that are in place. There is a salesperson that knows my name, that knows me, that's going to display some tests, and whenever I complete the test, he's going to give me some good feedbacks on the top of the screen, and whenever I say something wrong, he's going to put me back into the training, etc., until I'm right. So that's the principle of a simulation. Each and every choice has to impact the rest of the scenario. And of course, you can create some tree architectures that goes to really, really big ones. So I don't know if before I show you more advanced block and more advanced projects, is there any questions regarding this kind of small simulation that you can do in 30 to 40 minutes? And if there are no questions, I'm going to open a better project. Tayer, did you get any questions that I couldn't answer right now? Or if it's fine, it's fine. I'm okay with it.
Well, you seem to have covered everything pretty well.
Okay.
Well, one thing you could do is just very quickly show the clickable zones because of how easy it actually is to create one.
Okay, no problem. I'm gonna show you two things before showing bigger and better projects. So first one. So we saw interactivity regarding dialogues using the sentence choice. We had interactivity regarding quiz using the quiz block. That's a good name. But there is a third and very important way to give interactivity in this kind of simulation. It's called clickable zone. And the name is also very fitting because this block enables you to
interact with the environment.
Yeah, exactly. That was what I was looking for. So for instance, we are in a shoe and bag shop, I guess. So maybe there is a test about the new summer collection that's coming out in a few months. So now you train people on COVID. You know, they know how to get clients back into the shop, but they don't know anything about the product. So you're going to be do you say two bird, one stone? Is it the
Yes.
Okay, so you're gonna do two bird, one stone, and also assess them on the new collection. So how would you assess them? Maybe you would have a question or the sales manager telling you, can you show me the new Alpha Bag 2060? Let's call it the Alpha Bag, yeah. So can you show me the Alpha Bag? And instead of just showing something using foreground, etc., you're going to put a clickable area on the bag and basically force the learner to click on it to go further in the scenario. So if I want to create a small test.
So initially, I'm guessing you could create a few clickable zones on bags and shoes, and
Yep.
they would have to actually click on the correct one. So if they clicked on the incorrect one, a message could pop up or say, "Hey, that's not the bag I'm looking for."
Exactly. That's what I was gonna do. So let's do it right away. So here we have.
You could add a bit of humor into it. Someone might click on a shoe and say, "Hey, yeah, that looks like I can fit everything in my bag in there."
You're a funny guy, you. Let's do it. I like it. I like this type of simulation. So can you show me the alpha bag? So now we have 3 different products you can click on, and we are going to have 3 different reactions according to whatever you click on. So
Is it possible for us to name the zones so that we don't get confused while creating?
yeah, of course. So this is shoe. This is wrong bag. Whoops, wrong bag.
It
And
makes
this
it
is
easier for us to remember as well what we know is right and wrong.
and this is alpha bag 260. That's the right. That's the good one. So if you
Correct.
want to be very right, I would put the alpha bag on the top. That's also a good practice you have to remember. So it's easier to read the clickable area. You know that everything that goes to the top is the right way. Everything that goes to the bottom is the wrong way.
Excellent. So we can actually choose the positioning of the clickable zones. So which one's on top, which one's on bottom.
Yeah, exactly. You can rank them. This also has this also matters when you have to how do you say you know, you put a zone on a zone, and they
Overlap.
yeah, when you overlay different zones, the one on the top takes the priority on the one on the bottom. But that's for further complex projects. So for our project, what we're gonna do is we are gonna add maybe a bit of score again. So if the guy choose the wrong bag, it's no, let's add
Product knowledge. Let's add
maybe
another score, product knowledge.
product knowledge. Sorry. Oh,
Product
knowledge.
knowledge. And guys out there, the creators, everyone watching, you can make up your own skills too. So I mean, it could be company principles, it could be the trainer's principles if the learner's learning correctly in regards to specific principles set in place. These skills do not have to be something that's already existing. You might create a new skill, for example.
That's right. It's really up to your imagination. In the end, imagination is
I mean, that's what I
really
love
part of
about
the
the
job.
software, Thomas.
Sorry?
The limit, that's what I love about the software. The limit is your imagination. I
Yeah,
mean, it's
totally.
all about how far your imagination can go. Everything can be done.
So this
And where there's a will, there's a way. As long as you're willing to try and figure it out and actually get it done, you can do almost absolutely
0,
anything.
and this one is going to be 20. So as I said, don't go into negative scores. Even if the guy is selecting a shoe, when you ask him to select a bag, it's okay. He's still a good employee, you know. You have to keep him motivated. But yeah, you can give him 0 so he doesn't feel the difference. But at least he
Well, I
knows.
guess what you could do is put a negative name of a skill down and then put a positive score in there.
Yeah, that's also a possibility, right? That's right. You can add
As
as
well.
many skills and competency you want, so you can really play on them. So what it's going to do if we click on the bag, you're damn right. Bro, that's a shoe. And of course, close enough. Try again. So if you can try again, we go this way. If you select the shoe anyway, you can try again also, but this one, the first one, goes to the end of the scenario, basically. So let me unzoom it. So let's have a look what it looks like. So can you show me the alpha bag? So here, as you can see, my cursor becomes a little hand whenever I can click on something. So that's the hard way of doing it. We could also use some overlay that whenever the mouse goes over the clickable area, you have some colors that highlight something. There are many ways of highlighting the clickable area, but you can also make it hard mode and let the guy basically screen all the products to see whichever are clickable. But maybe we're going to select the shoe. Bro, that's a shoe. Oh, that's the learner saying, bro, that's a shoe. So yeah, whenever I click on it, I go back to the clickable area, etc. So I'm able to basically try as long as I want until I click on the right bag.
We can also loop it around so there's a maximum amount of wrong tries, isn't there?
Sorry, I didn't get it.
I said there's a way for us to put a limit on the as a maximum amount of wrong tries,
Yeah,
and
of
then it
course. So that goes into the technical area. I think it's yeah, it's counter. So this
yeah.
kind of technical block tells you, okay, how many times do I have the right to do it again, basically. So that would be like this. So you have, sorry, you have two chances to do it right. And if you don't do it right in two chances, well, let me just take it a bit further here. Well, maybe it's, I don't know. If you fail two times, it's game over. You are fired.
Oh, let's be a bit nice and tell them go back a step and learn a bit more.
Okay, game over. Go back and learn a bit more. So this shouldn't be a game over, a complete game over, but this maybe make you go back to our previous one that goes back to theory, you know.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's one way of assessing someone using clickable area, but you can click and make people click on anything and everything. And that's also for those who follow the product for a long time. That's also a new way to build interface. So let's say you want to make a training on, I don't know, Excel software. I don't know why, but you want to do something like this. You could use, sorry, let's leave this scene. It's going to be easier to explain. So using the backgrounds I told you about, you could import some spreadsheet from Excel. You screenshot it using the print screen shortcuts. Then you import it in VTS editor, and then you can also you can basically create clickable areas on the Excel sheet. So imagine there are your columns, etc. You could put small clickable areas like this and redo the whole Excel interface up, etc., etc. So once again, the possibilities are basically infinite with this kind of clickable areas, and I'm going to show you maybe some better and juicier example that we've built. I think, yeah, it's this one. So when we talked about the methodology at the beginning, the final points, we saw only 5 at the moment, but one of the last one is make it juicy. So how do we make it juicy? We need to make it gamified. We need to make it colorful, etc. So that's how we're going to do it. I think I have the
How many of the same one have you got?
what?
So you've got a lot. Are they all the same ones, the same projects there?
You can find this experience is part of a project I did for the shop for VTS editor, which are called the Juicy Game Design Pack. So these packs basically give you all the medias you need to make a juicy experience. So all these medias, all these sounds, etc., are present in the pack, and we also give you well, this exact experience, VTP we call it, so that you can go inside and try to look for different information. So that's what a timeline looks like when we do it. And of course, you have some memos and things like this that teach you how to do it again, basically. So yeah,
Are these like post notes? Yeah.
yeah, these are post notes made by our pedagogical engineers, and yeah, they give you guidelines on how to make something juicy, how to use variables, etc. And you can find it in the shop. And I have multiple versions of the same project because you can buy them with cartoon characters, without cartoon characters, etc. So I have a lot of them.
So that means if we have 2 or 3 people working on one project, passing the project around, they can add notes for each other in there too.
Yeah, of course. You have different types of exports. Either you have the final export that you put on your LMS, etc. But there is also the source file, which is called the VTP. So here I could export it, protect it with the password if I'm very scared of being stolen. So for instance, I did the introduction. I'm going to export it, send it to you, and tell you, okay, now you have to do the second scene, and I can give you every advice I need on the little tips note. So yeah, we can work together, but not at the same time on the same computer. You know, you would need to mouse for that. But we basically exchange the source file and then we work together in Serious Factory. So I'm gonna before getting into what makes the scene, I'm gonna go and play it so that you can see what type of content we can do with VTS Editor. I wish you could hear the music.
Is there no way to get the sound on?
Now, if I take out my my helmet, I'm not gonna be
Yes.
able to talk.
Okay.
That's the pleasure from working from home, you know.
Hmm.
So how susceptible is John? Tahir, you answer.
Oh, too much for my taste.
Good job, buddy.
Yay. So how long do you think something like this would take to create? So what you're showing us now, for someone who is a bit of a newbie but understands the features, how long would it take them to create what we're watching now?
I think for someone that knows a bit the software, it would take something like 3 to 4 days. For a very, very good expert, so for instance, the one who did this in Serious Factory took something like 1 day. And for a complete newbie using only tutorials, I think the hardest part would be, it depends. If he has the asset ready, he can do it in maybe over a week, I would say, for a complete newbie. If he doesn't have any assets, maybe 2 weeks, because you would need the time to cut everything, etc. So it depends. If you use the Juicy Game Design Pack as a complete newbie, yeah, I would say 1 week, and the better you become, the faster you can do it. I would take 2 days.
Okay.
I'm far from being the biggest expert in Serious Factory, and I would do it in 2 days, I think.
Okay. So once you're fully trained and you understand the tool correctly and completely, it's just a matter of content and how fast you can move your mouse.
Exactly. I would say the hardest part would be the storytelling. It looks silly, but creating questions, answers, putting humors into it is in the end the hardest part, you know?
Yeah, and the most fun too.
Yeah. So that's the question you answered.
Oh, yeah. It's all right. At least we'll get to learn a bit of French too. I mean, so this is great. I mean, you can actually teach for different levels. I mean, from primary school all the way up to higher education,
Yep.
and you can make it as fun or as realistic as you like.
Yep.
And look, we've got a bit of Batman there.
Oh, I think I need to click on the badges at the end to make them disappear.
Oh, see, now that would be fun. Touch screen for kids,
Yep.
they will love this.
So that, of course, would be educational game for children.
Yeah.
And if we load, so you saw the first one, so that's pretty linear. There are not so many choices you can do. Every movement you see from the square is done using these clickable areas. So here you see we created different zones basically, and using something called the animation duration. So if I select any time of animation, the software is going to remember the first position. So this is the initial position, and I think if I move around, yeah, here it's pretty hard to explain, but here this is the initial. If you remember, they were flying around the screen. So you define a starting position, you define an ending position, and a position in between. And using the animation time, basically, it tells you how long you want them to move. So it takes them 0.5 seconds to go from starting to end. Sorry?
Yeah, the movement period, basically.
Yeah,
So how long for it to
exactly
transition from one to the other?
exactly. It's how long is the movement. Then if we want to go into the details of this kind of scenario, so here we finally have some kind of variables. So we saw earlier that we could assign a variable to a specific name. So for instance, name was the name of the variable that remembers my name, but here we use something called text. So text is going to be a variable, and this variable is going to display some kind of information. So how do I put it? Here, basically, you have your bubble where the text was displayed, and you have the variable, just like we had name between brackets, here we have text between brackets. So what it does is display on text the words hello you. Then display on text the word I'm John, the magical square. And what it does is you only need to make one bubble, and then the text is going to change inside instead of doing different bubbles with different text. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's one use of the variable. So here you see we have the text that's changing everywhere again. So here it's all about movement in clickable areas and the variable text that's changing. It's only this. So that's why I said that shouldn't take too long. I mean, how many blocks is this? That's 64 minus, yeah, so that should be around 55 real blocks. So the design of 55 real blocks, when you take maybe a minute to write the text, should take 1 hour for the overall architecture. So that's why I said for a big expert who already has the overall idea of the project, that can go very, very, very fast. It's only a few clicks per blocks. So as long as you have your medias, it's a very, very simple task to do at least this introduction. It's always the same. You see clickable areas, text, variables, clickable area, text, variables, and sometimes you drop a bit of sound, but of course you couldn't hear it. But when the guy was talking, for instance, you had some music that was displayed, etc. But it's once again always the same structure, but it did some juicy introduction, you know, because you have a lot of color, a lot of movements, a lot of sound. Whenever you click on you answer something, there is an interaction, etc. So very easy to do, pretty hard to imagine, but once you imagine the scenario, it's very easy to do. And now if we go into the second scene, see, this becomes a bit harder, but it's still pretty easy, I think so. So in this,
It's very well laid out.
yeah, this was done inside Series Factory. We have some very meticulous, I don't know if it's the word in English, people. If the line is not straight, it's not from Series Factory. That's something you remember. If you take a training, we just launched the new distance training. So if you order some training with us on the software, you're going to be trained by Nicolas, because we have 4 different Nicolas in Series Factory. So it's always going to be a Nicola. But anyway, he's going to teach you the way of doing things very, you know, very organizedly, very meticulous, etc. Because the more organized you are with your overall graph, the easier it is to construct.
Well, I guess it goes down to the old saying, The tidy bedroom, tidy mind.
Exactly. I didn't know this one, but that's the right one. Yeah. Um, so yeah, if we want to take a deeper look at this graph, so still a very linear position as long as we didn't have any click to do. All the answers were leading to the same way, basically, because there were no wrong or right answers, since it's only a demo, you know. So it's still very linear until we reach the mini game, you know, that we had with the different circles, etc. And once again, all the quiz, all the mini games, etc., were done using clickable areas. So this kind of text, for instance, the quiz we had before, this is just different clickable area that you used the word before. How do you say when you put areas on top of areas?
The
No.
Sorry, say that again.
When you put clickable areas on top of clickable areas.
You overlay or
Yeah, you
overlap them.
overlay them. So that's only different clickable areas that overlay themselves. So you just have like 3 or 4 different.
So show us by clicking on the left-hand side, selecting them. So show us how they're overlaid.
Okay, so you always have the
But
mascot.
that's got it right at the back, I'm guessing. Oh, there he is at the bottom.
Yeah. So these two have to be on top of each on top of
On top of
the others, because you need to click on them, and you can see the little sign that says
yeah.
these two are clickable, these ones are not. So these ones are just for displaying information. So you have the
Okay.
question, the background.
So the clickable zones, they're not only interactive, but they're also a way of displaying.
If you need to,
Yeah.
yeah, you can unclickable them. I don't know if it's a word,
Click
but
them,
yeah,
unclick.
yeah. But the goal, since you can also use them for animation purpose, you don't necessarily need them to be clickable, unless it's the mini game. Yeah, this is the mini game. So the mini game, these ones, yeah, they are all clickable here, and I think each and every how can I say it? Since there is movement and animation, this is the starting position. Then randomly it goes to this in 2 seconds. Then randomly it goes to this position in 2 seconds. And then randomly it goes to this position in 2 seconds. So this is how you
Okay.
create the movement. And to make it a bit random, they used the random block, which is going to use any kind of movement so that you can't predict it, basically. So it either
Oh, so
starts
it
with this.
randomizes, the random block randomizes which clickable zones block comes into play first.
Exactly, and since it's the starting position of the whole game, according to which one you start with, it changes the whole operation. So it improves the readability of the game, and you can play it again. So the playability is also improved by this kind of small tricks. So this is why the technical blocks in the end are, for me, the storytelling blocks, because they really tell you how to say good stories. Oh, I don't know how to talk anymore.
How to tell a good story.
Yeah. So I think that's all I had to show you regarding the different way of building simulations. Because if we want to go even further, we would need to be a bit too technical. And for just an introduction to video learning, I think that's enough. One of the biggest advice I would give you is start slowly. Don't just rush into getting a platinum pack. I'm going to be doing a 2-hour serious games with 20 different ways, with the biggest architecture we've ever seen. That's not the right way of doing it. If I really have to give one simple and honest advice, is start slowly, build some dialogues between characters, add some quiz, then add some humor, then add some storytelling, etc. And just make it a learning curve, and don't make it I want to do something big and I'm going to start big right away. That's usually how people not fail but take more time to understand the software. If I have to finish about something in the software, it would be one of the most important thing, and you talked about it a bit, the publishing part of VTS Editor. So of course, VTS Editor is compatible with all, if not most, players in the LMS market. So you can export using SCORM, classic SCORM package, so you can continue, you can select the type of SCORM you need to, etc. So there is even some sort of customization of the background image, etc. So either you use the SCORM, either you can make it just on a web page. That's, for instance, what we do on our website. You can click on the Made with VTS Editor section, and this is going to open a web page with different games you can play. And this, of course, induces that there is no statistics that are tracked, unlike when you use a SCORM package. And lastly, the third option would be the VTS player option. And this one, I think you should ask for a demonstration from Tahir if you're interested in VTS player, because that would require maybe another hour to explain. But yeah, we own our own way of deploying things because it allows us to deploy also on mobile, on tablets, whatever platform you need and whatever platform you have, I think we can deploy on it. So if you have questions regarding mobile deployment, etc., don't hesitate to send a message on our website, because we would be glad to do a whole demonstration of VTS Perf and VTS Player.
Absolutely.
I think that was all for me regarding the software. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show, just give me 1 second. If you want, Tahir, I'm going to show the pricing page.
Do you have it
yeah.
in-house?
If you give me 1 sec, I'm going to show it. That's this one.
Oh, that's in euros, my friend.
That's in euros. That's true. But I'm in France, so I can only show European price. I cannot change my IP address
Well,
in the middle of a webinar.
As everyone can see, I mean, we've got monthly price packs that start for as little as $9.99 per month. That range then up to $6.23 per month. Pound pricing are very similar, but of course, whoever is interested, get in touch and we'll talk through pricing and figure out what is best for you guys. Of course, no matter which country you're in, you can also visit our website, seriousfactory.com. And then simply hover over the virtual training suite and discover the prices. And of course, as you can see, we've also added a few turnkey bundle packages which come with training to ensure that you can hit the ground running when you start your creation on VTS Editor.
Well, I think that's all for us today. Are there any questions we didn't answer during the presentation, or are we good on this?
Well, I mean, if anyone from if any of the attendees would like to throw in a few questions, if you've got the chat box open, feel free. We're here to answer any questions that you may have. We can stick around for, let's say, another 5 minutes or so in case someone does pop in with a question. Do you have any elevator music while we wait, Thomas?
I'm still on, my helmet.
No, I'm just messing.
No, but yeah, also one of the big detail, if you want to try it by yourself and see how you like VTS Editor, there is a trial version of on our website. It's free, so if you want to just try it, you can download. We just ask for a few information to know who you are, and if you want to get called by Tahir to maybe talk about your future plans regarding digital learning or anything like this, well, it's also the good time to give him a message if you want to. I think, yeah, there is his email address under the name. Try to use his, because I'm part of the marketing team, and I don't know everything related to global expansions, but I'd be happy to help him. But yeah, try to use tcan@seriousfactory.com and try to visit seriousfactory.com, and most importantly, try it by yourself and see our projects made with VTS, which is also a very important thing to decide, so that you can see what real projects look like.
Excellent. And we do, of course, where we have a few tips and pointers. You've got the online tutorials, and you can get in touch for a few of the tutorial packs, which will help you out in understanding how some of the animations work that Thomas has shown us today.
Well, it was a pleasure to do this webinar with you. I think we are going to host some other ones for the English community. So even if you have subjects you want us to cover, be it a certain field or a certain way of doing things, or maybe you want to see what serious games, what immersive learning looks like, or anything, just throw us a message and we'd be happy to answer.
Absolutely, absolutely. Anything you come our way with, of course, the more ideas you bring to us, the better. And like Thomas said, we can actually create an idea of your questions or of your idea for our next webinar too. Excellent proposal.
Folks, it was very nice to see and talk to you. I tell you goodbye, good evening, and I see you soon.
All right, see you soon, Thomas. Thank you very much for today, and thank you everyone for joining us. Looking forward to hearing from you. Bye-bye.